We've been here since 2001. And the look at the sanctuary wasn't a big deal because I was so excited to be part of the UU Congregation in Prescott. But as time marched on, I started to notice things that needed some help.
It's not like we haven't tried. These are not new ideas. We found in the archives as far back as 2001, people suggesting that we got a vaulted ceiling in the sanctuary. And we've had all kinds of meetings over the years. There was definitely, every time the board set new priorities for the year, they would mention something about expanding the facilities, about making the sanctuary welcoming. And we've had then a major strategic plan that we brought in outside consultants to work on our mission. We looked at every area of our church life. We thought about our goals, of how many members we wanted to have. And we came up with pages and pages of suggestions people had and grouped those into categories. But the ones related to the sanctuary were the most passionate, and I think they're still very relevant today. The top things on that list were natural light, a warm, natural-looking use of materials, a higher ceiling, better acoustics, new floor coverings, accessibility, and flexibility. We've been talking about this for a long time. There's a lot of agreement and consensus among the congregation, and we've had the conversations that are continuing. By 2019, we were really circling in on a direction that we wanted to go. All we had to do was wait for a new minister, a new called minister that would come and lead us through the process.
When I first came to Prescott and interviewed at Granite Peak 2 years ago in March, and it was so cold, I was told that that the congregation had done lots of work around possibly finding a new space. And that I found that very interesting. And when I came here, I started to get together an architect search team. But it soon became evident to me that the board and people in leadership were just not wanting to go ahead and make that big leap into having an architect. It was a very expensive leap. And so what I started to wonder about is if we needed to think about doing the best with what we have. And we received a marvelous donation and we put in windows. Bill Betts was facilities chair then, and we put windows in the in an adjoining door, so you didn't need to go from one classroom in the faith development building to the other through the bathroom. So we did all of these things, and then Bill Betts put in marvelous electric work around so that we had good lighting around our the building. And then when the pandemic struck, we started to really get into painting because we weren't using the building. It was so easy to get people together and do all this painting. We had marvelous volunteers, and Dan Riordan was making these great frames for the outside. We made the Davis Hall just look beautiful and renewed. And then we did the faith development buildings. And then we did the office, and we moved the things from the office, old office, into where the nursery was, and shifted all those things around. And Bronwyn made a beautiful little nursery where the office had been. So we did all of these things, and then we had the sanctuary left.
The thing I'm most excited about, actually, really two things. One is to convert the space, or transform the space we have, to a more contemplative space, less like a warehouse, and more of an open, airy space that people really kind of walk in and say, "Oh, wow, this is really nice." And I think the first idea, and it was all made possible by the fact that it was discovered there's no asbestos. So removal of the ceiling is not a problem. The first simplest idea was just to remove the ceiling, expose these trusses, and initially we thought, gee, that might be kind of nice, but then we actually had the architect's drawings and it looks like it's going to be a mess if you leave those trusses available. So the group has sort of evolved into an idea of just doing a new roof, basically, and that leaves a lot of possibility. What is it you like about this idea?
Well, we've kind of gone through a transformation. We've had different roof pitches, tried different options to, I think what Rick was saying, to make it more airy and more natural light. And so we're trying to create that and looking at, the different options to create different things.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think what we've come up with is a steeper roof to have a higher ceiling, to have a better feel, and to increase the acoustic value of the area. And then we've got some different design things that we've done, different beams and different windows that we're looking at.
In acoustics, as a singer and a performer, the current situation is really not satisfactory. And in fact, leaving the trusses in place and removing the ceiling, you'd have a mess in terms of the acoustic characteristics of the space.
Right.
And so this would allow the space not only on Sundays, but other opportunities for musicians to come in and perform. And we could think it could be a really very attractive space for that purpose.
I think that's what's most exciting to me is the idea that you're going to walk into it and you don't feel like you're walking into the Oddfellows Hall. You feel like you're walking into a church, a usual congregational space. And it's a spiritual or religious space in some sense.
So we've been dreaming about renovating our congregational home ever since we've been here for 20 years. As we dreamed over those 20 years, we've been making memories. For me, the dedication of my 2 grandchildren and the renewal of our wedding vows.
But I remember how Dan had us sing Spirit of Life to his cell phone when cell phones were still new. And we sang to Gyla Siegel, and a little bit later, another time to Don Hams, saying goodbye on behalf of the congregation. Just so many memories in that space.
As we were making memories, we were also making improvements as we could to the whole campus for all these 20 years, and so many people have participated in that. Joanna Hawley's art renderings of our principles on the sanctuary wall, and Roger Ace's sign, stonework sign outside were 2 early improvements, but systems and all kinds of things. But our sanctuary was stubbornly resistant to improve. I would love to have more natural light in the sanctuary.
So since Patty talked about the Yavapai foundations of this area, I love the idea of having our spiritual home go back and acknowledge the natural beauty of the region, the mountains, the trees, natural materials. That would just make it such a spiritually moving experience for me.
We believe our ideas are much more than a renovation. And all of these, this whole process, you can see in our sanctuary. We're going to have pictures of every step of the way. And I hope that you can see all the beautification projects that are happening, because our building is looking fabulous. Thank you so much. Bye.